Shalom Israel, this is YAHAWAH. I want to go over some things in the Bible and artifacts concerning Israel. How people are always talking about that we don't know that we're Israel. The Negroes, Latinos, and American Indians. We know that we're Israelites based on artifacts in the Bible prophecies. Now what I'm going to show you is in the book of Maccabees. This is in the Apocrypha, as you can see right there, the Apocrypha. And we're going to go to the 3rd chapter of 1st Maccabees, which is also in the King James Bible. For those of you who have never heard this before, the Holy Bible. Let's go down to and just to give you some understanding, this is when the Greeks came in. This is when the Greeks actually came in and destroyed our temples. Okay, our temples in Jerusalem, and the Levites were the bearers of the temples. So let's go to 1st Maccabees chapter 3, and we're going to read verse 46. It says, "Wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Masphah, which is a city over against Jerusalem. For in Masphah was the place where they prayed aforetime in Israel," because we always had to pray towards the temple in Israel, right? Verse 47, "Then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their heads and rent their clothes." So this is when Israel were able to get their temple back away from the Greeks. And when they went in the temple and they saw what the Greeks had done to their temple, this is what happened. So the Israelites, it says verse 48, "and laid open the book of the law," which is this Bible that we have, "wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images." So in our Bible or in our scrolls, we had images of our people. People were always talking about, oh, you Israelites, we didn't do that back in those days. Well, we painted our images. Well, you're wrong. We painted images in our books. Now, I've been in the truth for a while, and I've heard some stupid things being said while in the truth. One of the things that I've heard is brother says, oh, you can't have any images. Now, when you look at the scriptures, in 1st Maccabees, the 3rd chapter, it tells you that the heathen took our books and changed the images that was in our books. That's plain. Now, if you want to say whether that's the Paleo-Hebrew that was there, where we used actual iconic images, like we used the eye for certain letters, or we used the head for certain letters, you know, we have to understand that our people were very visual at looking at things. They looked at images all day. The best way for someone to learn how to read is to show them images. Now I'm going to show you this. This is coming from a kindergarten reading, and look what she focuses on. Okay, the best way again to learn to read is by images. Our forefathers wrote images. Alright? It's a way of understanding and comprehending. When we're out on the street, there's people that come up who can't even read. And they see the posters or the images that we may have on the ground. And by them seeing those images, they're able to understand what we're talking about. Okay, you have people who are deaf. Just by them seeing images helps them understand what we're talking about. So, I mean, you have people who are blind too. How are they going to understand what you're talking about? Okay? You have to paint a picture in their minds. Right? When you go into Revelation chapter 1, it describes what YAHAWAH, Christ, looked like. Mashiach. Woolly hair, brown skin. In that mind of that blind person, they're painting an image. You can't prevent images from helping our people understand or comprehend. Okay, understand that? So let's get some understanding. I've been in this truth for a long time. I heard some of these things, and it just baffles me how Israel stops in a certain area and don't grow anymore based on those little things that prevent them from growing, or arguing over little stuff like the flat earth theory or crazy stuff. That stuff slows your wisdom. It slows your growth. Okay? When brothers start talking like that, I be wondering if they smoking weed. I start looking at them with my eyebrows raised, like, what is this dude into that's causing him not to grow? What kind of sin is he off into? You know, normally a brother's off into some kind of sin that won't allow him to grow. The prophets, they didn't have time for stuff like that. They kept going. They kept moving on. Stop there. I just want to show you that and laid open the book of the law, when the heathen has sought to paint the likeness of their images. So these are our priests. When they saw that the images of their forefathers have been destroyed or whitewashed, it caused them to drop their heads. Okay, so now let's go into this book called The Icon. Okay, you can purchase this book off of Amazon, The Icon. It's a pretty expensive book. But I want to go to first and foremost, let's go here. This is the Icons of Constantinople. Right, this is up in Europe. And as you know, Constantinople was the city that was conquered by Constantine, all right, which was the Byzantine Empire. All right, so let's read this. Iconoclasm. So icon and classism means to change. It says Venetian looting in 1204 and the sack by the Turks in 1453 are the main reasons why only very few icons have survived in Constantinople proper. It may seem daring, therefore, to write an entire chapter on the icons of the capital, yet the situation is not quite so hopeless as might appear at first glance. Icons existed not only as panel paintings, but also as frescoes and wall mosaics. Those are wall paintings, some of which have emerged from layers of whitewash. See that? Do I need to read that again? So things were whitewashed. Yes, literally it is what it means. It was washed over and painted over with whitewashing or washed off. Okay? It says to give an undiluted impression of the highest achievements of Constantinopolitan art. The capital was so widely recognized as the chief center of mosaic production that our artists, highly trained artisans working in well-organized shops, were invited to work in every Orthodox Christian and Islamic country. So they were destroying our icons, just like we just read in the Bible. Okay, so let me show you an icon. This was an icon that was destroyed. As you can see, the whitewashing. Okay, this is supposed to be Christ. See? What I'm looking for you, I want to show you something that wasn't really touched that much. This is King David. See how dark he is? Look at his face. Look at his hair. All right, and so the whitewashing is they take a fine brush and they put lines in his afro, right, to make it look as if it was stringy. But it's not. He was a dark complexioned man. Okay? And these are mosaics that our people painted. When you go to the catacombs in Rome, you see the same thing. That's one of the reasons why they tell you don't take your camera and take pictures. They say, oh, well, the lighting would destroy the arts or the mosaics or the frescoes on the wall, which is a lie. Okay? They don't want you to see who's actually in those cemeteries or cities underground painting their images on the wall. Who's our people? So this is King David. And look at those fringes on King David. Look how long they are. That's King David. That's our king. Look at that book. Look at that. Okay? Now here's more. If you haven't seen it, this is the Varonay. Okay, now this is where so this is where it is. It's outside, right? And mosaics are actually on that building. So what I'm going to show you is these are the Edomites. Those are white people. Okay, believe it or not. These is what our forefathers had painted on the wall back in the 13th century. Okay, that's whitewashed black angel. All right, as you can see, the demons going around the Edomites. All right, this is King Solomon. I want to show you. Look at this, how it was destroyed. Black faces, black hands. As you can see around the hands, they start decrepitating it. And they start using a white brush to white out the faces, so you can't make it out. Look at the black men here. Okay, and this is all on the wall. This is the mosaics. All right, these are all black men. Look at Christ on this one. Can't tell me he ain't black. Look at the woolly hair. Look at the crown. All right, that's probably Moses. So I want to find a real good one. As you can see, this is the judgment of Edom. Right? We're going to take those who took us captives. And those are black. That's Black Gabriel or Michael. Right? What is he doing? Poking the Edomites, bringing judgment on them. All right? Look at the hand of God. It's a black hand. Okay? And so you can say that this stuff doesn't exist. Look at that black angel. What's the black angel doing? Blowing the last trumpet. Okay? Look at these. Trying to tell me these ain't black men? Look at that. Those are black men. Those are the disciples. Those are the last. That's the last judgment. The 24 elders. All right. Here's more pictures. Look at it. Judgment. Edomites. Look at the angel. All right. Look at the 24 elders. All black men. All right. So those who are red goes back to Edom. All right. See those that are red? Those are the so-called white men. But you look at the Israelites, you look at the angels, they're black. And they have round circles around their heads to show that they're the saints. Here's another book. This is called A Pictorial History of the Slave Trade. Now, I'm about to show you something that you probably have never seen in your life. I have another video called The Israelites Went to West Africa. You should look that up, Google it. It'll give you more information about how we got to West Africa. In West Africa, when you look at this here, when you look at this, you see this is the west coast of Africa. This is a Portuguese map back in the, 1300s. And you see what they called it back then. It was called Negro Land. Right? So there was no other races over there. It was just Negroes in that particular area. And then when you drop down to the Gold Coast, right? You drop down to the Slave Coast, to Benin, which is Benjamin. You get even closer, you see Judah. Right there, that's Judah. Wider. Okay? All of this coast here were Israelites. All the way up. See that? Sierra de Leone. All of these brothers here were Israelites. They're all from the tribe of Judah, from the tribe of Benjamin, from the tribe of Ephraim. Alright, just so you know, the Congo area had a lot of Benjamin. Okay. Now, when the Africans took hold of them, there was always a wrestling going on here, and it was normally coming from the Africans who lived outside the walls of the castles that Israel had built over in those countries. Israel built castles over there before the white man even showed up over there. There's castles. One thing National Geographic never shows you are the advancement of the castles that were built over there prior to the Portuguese, prior to the French, prior to the European, British coming over there. All right, so this is what they don't teach us in the Western Hemisphere of the United States. What we had in West Africa, but we had castles. You figure we was dwelling there approximately 1,200 years prior to coming over here to the Americas and to Europe. So there's another map even more older than this, and it tells you that most of these names before the Portuguese got to it, they had all biblical names. Negro Land had biblical names everywhere. And I can't find a map that I have that says it at this moment, and I'm not going to look for it at the present time because I'll be here all day looking through all my books and everything trying to find it. But I thought I'd just pull this up for you. You can pull this up on the internet. Okay? Let's pull up ancient maps of Africa. Alright, so now, going into that book that I just showed you, Jabu, that's actually Ephix or Ephraim. Okay, the kingdom of Benin, see that? It's a tribute to Benin, meaning Benjamin. And this is really just showing the coast. All of this was Israelites. Look at that, Judah, Wider. Judah, Wider, decrepit name for Judah. And no, the white man did not name that land. Okay, it was already called Judah before he even showed up. When he found out that it was Judah, that's when most of the slave trade took place. He said, we found the Israelites. We could take them into captivity now and make them what? Christians. All right? Because they all kept the laws. All right, but they started getting worse and worse and worse in West Africa, keeping the laws. They started getting more decrepit, more evil towards their brethren. All right, there's Acon, which is the Shantis. Those are the Levites, dwelling right above. Akron, those are the Levites. Grand Akron Levites, tribe of Levi, all up in there. Those are our people that dwelt in there. The fort. Okay, this is the fort of YAHAWAH. And no, the white man did not build that. That was the fort that we built prior to him coming. He took over it. He was able to dominate the area and manipulate his way in there using us, using the people of Israel. You see here it says it was French who founded the fort of Judah. No, that's not true. It says or Quida. That's not even a French name, Quida, Judah, which was finally destroyed in 1726 by the army of the king of Dahomey. So he used the brothers from Dahomey to overcome us. So the French didn't do anything. They gave guns to our other brothers who was fighting with us over trade, fighting with us over different things. Okay, there's a picture of how Judah looked. It was very beautiful. Trees, castles on the coast, very beautiful. Okay, here's that fort again. If you go over to Haiti, you see the same thing. Our fellow brethren over in Haiti built a temple or a castle that looks just like this in Florida.
Il va avoir espoir seulement, bonne force. Il fait moi ça mieux vraiment.
La citadelle, c'est nom. C'est nom, c'est vraiment, c'est mon esprit, c'est tout, c'est mon tout, c'est ma.
Gon expression de volonté même de dire je suis un homme, je suis l'humain.
The Haitian history may be considered of being the only time that a slave revolution actually generated the creation of a country.
In Haiti, we have to understand that the piece, the land, every piece of land means something to every single Haitian. Here, you can only be positive, because when you see this fortress, you said Haitian can.
In Florida, we also built a castle like this. So we didn't have any help from the white man. It was called Fort Negro. Look that up. Fort Negro. The Gulas actually built it. It was a combination of the Native American Indians and the Negroes and the slaves who were all working together to have a peaceful place to live until Andrew Jackson conquered them. All right. So now that we've seen where Judah is on the coast, and we've seen our pictures of our forefathers, what they look like, okay, now we have a little bit more understanding when we go to other books. So what I want to show you is how the Africans, this is called Saul as Freedmen, Jews in the American slave trade. And the dynamics of mythopoeism. Blacks in the slave trade. All right, so as you see, I highlighted some things here. I'm going to read where it says somehow. It says somehow the myth makers mention myth makers. Who are the myth makers? Esau, British, French, right? Spaniards. Those are the myth makers. They created their own history. To somehow the myth makers omit mention of African participation in the slave trade. No legitimate scholar disputes the existence of slaves in African society before the arrival of European whites. Just as in ancient Greece or Rome, they came through capture in war, kidnapped, judicial decree, condemned because of witchcraft, or debt slavery, or inheritance. There is a debate over the actual treatment of Africans owned by other Africans. Since the 18th century, when Aludo Aquano, all right, Aludo is Judah, Aquano, this was a young man that was captured. Now, the Africans, when they was placing people in captivity, they were not the same people as I showed you in the Gold Coast. They were actually people from East Africa. Those were the Hamites. Right? Those were the Hamites. Those were the Canaanites. Those were the Philistines. Those were the Egyptians. Okay? That placed us in captivity. Right? And they were just envious of what we had. So when you read the story or the book of Aludo Aquano, he tells you that him and his family were Hebraic in all the ways of understanding. And so the Africans, they were selling learned individuals into captivity that they had conquered, right? But with the help of Esau, Esau would give them guns to conquer our people and place us in captivity. Okay, so it says, since the 18th century, when Aludo Aquano, renamed Gustavus Vasa, left a memoir stressing how slaves were accepted into the family of their masters, a number of writers have stressed the positive aspects of African slavery. So, get this. Whenever we went into captivity, our names were always changed. Just like us coming over here to the Americas, our names were automatically changed as soon as we got here. We still carry the names of the slave masters today. Right? This is a Hebraic name, Aludo Aquano. Okay? Let me show you in the book of the Bible. I'm going to go to the book of Daniel. Remember, Daniel's name was changed. What was Daniel's name changed to? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was the name of the 3 Hebrew Israelites. And I'm not going to stop saying Hebrew Israelites. It was the name of 3 Israelites whose names were changed. Okay? Okay, so here's Daniel, the book of Daniel in the Bible. And we're going to drop down chapter 1, verse 6. It says, now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs, which was a Babylonian, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names. For he gave unto Daniel the name of Belteshazzar, and to Hananiah and of Shadrach, and to Mishael of Meshach, and to Azariah of Abednego. All right, so these were the Babylonian names that they took. You look at Queen Esther, she took on a Babylonian or a Persian name. Her name was Hadassah, it was not Esther. Okay, so wherever we went into captivity, our names have always changed. And so this is why we know that we're the Israelites, because everywhere we have been, our names have always changed to fit where we went into slavery. When you look at, there was a book I was reading that was talking about how, let me see if I can find it real quick. It was pretty interesting. It said, yeah, right here. This book is called A Peculiar People, Slave Religion and Community Culture Among the Gulas. Okay. And the Gulas were Israelites. There were slaves, there were Seminole Indians, there were Reubenites, all right? So this is page 266. It says, many observers were appalled at what interpreted as resignation among Sea Island African Americans. Arthur Summer wrote from St. Helena Island in 1863, I am astonished that they should be fit to live after such generations of mere animal life. A higher race would have lost all moral sense. Even one of the Gulas' staunchest advocates, Elizabeth Bolton, believed that the patience of the free people in sickness was so general and remarkable it seemed like so they were astonished that we were able to still maintain our mental soundness even going through slavery. Why? Because we were the Israelites. We believed in Father, believed in the Most High. Okay? So we have to understand, according to the Bible, the Israelites would never totally lose everything when it comes to spiritual. 35 of the same book. This is, and this is going into Judah of the west coast of Africa. Cargoes from the slave coast, Dahomey, and the Ivory Coast were rarely noted by Lawrence or mentioned in newspaper advertisements. When ships from these areas did arrive, an explanation in the announcement was called for. Just arrived in the ship Marlborough, 300 Negroes, directly from YAHAWAH, Judah, a country greatly preferred to any other throughout the West Indies and inferior to none on the coast of Africa. These were the tribes of Judah, okay, with sprinkles of Benjamin and Levi in there. So these brothers wasn't afraid of anything, right? They weren't inferior to anyone of the coast of Africa because they were all brethren. That's why there was no inferiority. Okay, so let's see where these brothers went in America. Let's find out. You know, what's happening now, since I've been putting these books out on the internet, a lot of other brothers been hitting me up and telling me other books to go to. This is how we're going to get our information right. All right, and Brother YAHAWAH hit me up with this. This is Creole New Orleans, Race and Americanization. And check this out. Thanks, Brother YAHAWAH. All right, so when we go to this, I'm going to go to page 70. When you look at this, this is just one area of the United States. It says origins and numbers of slaves brought to Louisiana from Africa, 1719 to 1743. Place of origin, Judah. So in Louisiana, you got a lot of Judites. All right, and these are the years they landed, 1719 all the way to 1728. Those are the number of slaves. Now, Judah also went into Georgia. All right, at one time they were highly demanded on the east coast of the Carolinas. All right, a lot of Benjaminites went to the Carolinas. A lot of Ashantis went up north. All right, up there by Massachusetts. So we had a lot of Israelites coming in. Senegal, Gori. These are the years and the amount of brothers that went there and sisters. All right, so this is just to show you proof that the tribe of Judah is in America. And the tribe of Judah are the Negroes, also some Latinos and some American Indians, right? We're scattered abroad to the four corners of the earth. So these are the American Indians prior to the white man coming in and destroying it. These were mosaics or frescoes on the walls. Look how dark this American Indian was. Look at the dark feet, right? This is prior to the Spaniards coming over here. Look at those. Those are American Indians, right? In the Americas. These are mounds. These are mounds in the Americas. Tennessee, Illinois. There's pyramids all throughout the Americas, Akim. And these brothers had pyramids all over. They were temples for our people. We took our fruits and offered it. When you read Hosea 7, that's what it spoke about. But these were dark brethren. Now, when the Spaniards, the French, and the British came over here, they were killing off these brothers if they didn't take their doctrine. And those who did take their doctrine, they put them on ships and sent them to Europe. So they also went on slave ships. A lot of American Indians are in Europe today, right? So not to mention the mixing of our people in the Americas, but how can you tell who our people are? Based on the seed of the Father. A lot of people coming into this truth or hearing about that Israelites are finding out who they are. They don't understand that it's based on the seed of your father. Whoever your father is, that's who you are. There's no confusion. You know, some people say, oh, I'll mix with this, I'll mix with that, part German, part French, part British, you know, part black, part Hawaiian. No, it's based on the seed of your father. Let's make it real clear on who you are based on your father. Not your mom, but your father. So, there's a lot of information on the Israelites. There's a lot of artifacts. And I ask that you consider or open your mind to the understanding of who the Negroes, Latinos, and American Indians are. Truly, they are a blessed people that are destroyed mentally because they don't have the law, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father that are written of in the Bible. When they come back to that, all Israel will wake up, and then the end shall come. Then the end shall come. These rumors of wars are going to continually to boil over. And with that, I just want you to understand that the true Jews are here in the Americas and scattered to the four corners of the earth. Okay, so hopefully this is some information that's going to help you in your learning and in your understanding of gathering information of the truth. It's called Wisdom Sits in Places, Keith H. Bassel. Now I saw this on another brother's channel. He had brought this out, and when I saw the brother brought it out, I looked in my library and I said, I got the same book. And so I said, I need to bring this out as well. So I thought I'd just go in it and bring it out and add it to this video. And this is going into the American Indians. Okay, so let's go to page 21 and let's read at the top. It says, these fields look after us by helping our corn to grow. Our children eat it and become strong. We eat it and continue to live. Our corn draws life from the earth, and we draw life from our corn. This earth is part of us. We are of this place. Juniper tree stands alone. So why am I? This is going into the American Indians being in America. Okay, so the American Indians are saying, we are of this place. Juniper tree stands alone. Why are they saying juniper tree stands alone? Because when you look at Elijah, the prophet, when you hear the word juniper, juniper was a biblical word for succor, right? S-U-C-C-O-R, right? And Elijah hid himself from Jezebel in the same place, all right, up under the juniper tree. So let's go to the scriptures real quick. This is 1 Kings chapter 19. And let's go to verse 1. And Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and withal how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent to the messenger unto Elijah, saying, so let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them, by tomorrow about this time. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life, and came to Beersheba, which belongeth to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a what? A juniper tree. And he requested for himself that he might die, and said, it is enough. Now, O power, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. And as he lay and slept under a juniper tree, behold, then an angel touched him, and said unto him, arise and eat. And he looked, and behold, there was a cake baken of the coals, and a cruse of water at his head. And he did eat and drink, and laid him down again. And the angel of the Most High came again the second time, and touched him, and said, arise and eat, because the journey is too great for you. And he arose and did eat and drink, and went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights unto Horeb, the mount of the Most High. So he went where? To the mount of the Most High. The Most High fed him under what? Under the juniper tree. Okay? So a juniper tree is a very biblical type of tree. So let's go back. It says, we are of this place, juniper tree stands alone. It's talking about the American Indians when they took the choice place of America, which was the northern part of America. When you read Deuteronomy 33, it says, and Gad would take the choice places of the land. All right? So when we go to Deuteronomy 33, so I'll jump from Judah to Gad. Let's go to Deuteronomy 33. And let's go to verse 20. And of Gad he said, blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. He dwelleth as a lion. He teareth the arm with the crown of the head. And he provided the first part for himself, because there in a portion of the lawgiver was he seated. And he came with the heads of the people. He executed the justice of the Most High, and his judgments with Israel. So Gad took the choice part of the land, which was the northern part of America, when the 10 tribes came to the Americas. Okay? So let's go back and read back in the book of Wisdom Sits in the Places. And let's read on. And it says, the earth is part of us. We are of this place. Juniper tree stands alone. We should name ourselves for this place. We are Gad. We are Gad. Juniper tree stands alone, people. This is how it shall be. So they knew that they were the American Indians, and they knew they were from the tribe of who? Gad. Now the people spoke among themselves and agreed. With what their leaders had said, they agreed to be known for the place where they first planted corn. Where was the place that they first planted corn other than America? In Egypt. Right? Now they spoke of themselves to other people that way. We are juniper tree. Stands alone, people, they would say to them. So this is what we have. Now they spoke of themselves to other people that way. We are juniper tree. Stands alone, people, they would say to them. So this is what we have. So I thought I'd read this because this is pretty interesting when it gets into the Jewish people, just going back into the Jews and the American slave trade. And I felt that this was interesting in reading this on page 240, and it says, this is the last paragraph. This is a Jew going back and forth with a so-called African American, and it was being recorded, and it was recorded also in this book. So it says, this is a Jewish guy. Partisans of the Zionist entity in the Middle East, Jews were not really brothers. In the worldwide struggle against global imperialism, they weren't even a genuine minority. You look like an oppressed minority. Writes Berman, speaking for the black viewpoint. But it is I who belong to the true minority. You are yourself part of the oppressive majority. Still worse, the black was saying, I am you and you are an imposter. Your history is mine, not yours. And insofar as people think that you are you, it is because you have stolen my identity. You are more than an enemy. You are a demon. Only Satan could do what you have done. So this is in this book. And guess who wrote this book? A Jewish guy. And this was the interview he had did amongst a Jewish guy, a Jewish convert, and a black man who was actually a real Jew by blood. And so he recognized who he was, and he called this Jewish guy out. He says, you are Satan. So I thought I'd add that. It's not my words. It's what this man recorded. All right.